Hello, good evening. I'm Leni Agustina as the host of this mini talk show. Today we will discuss the topic about education amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. A pandemic is a situation that makes us to do something unusual. For almost 2 years, starting from March, the pandemic has hit Indonesia with various complaints from small things to the biggest things. Education is an important thing that must be highlighted in the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, together with a resource person who is an education researcher, Zakia Zahara. Hi Zakia, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
So what are you busy with in the midst of this pandemic that has not subsided?
At the moment of this pandemic, I'm still active in writing, paying attention to education in remote village, and actively participating in humanitarian activities.
Oh, wow, you are really busy, yeah? You are still productive even though the situation is not normal. Okay, talking about education amid the COVID-19 pandemic. According to our topic today, what is the first opinion you want to convey about this?
Well, this pandemic is a situation that makes us unable to carry out activities as freely as usual. The situation certainly has a great effect on education. It is not easy to carry out activities related to the future at a time and place that may not be possible.
So what do you think about the development of education in the midst of this ongoing pandemic?
In my opinion, the development of education in Indonesia is progressing slowly because there are many obstacles in this process, even though the government has done a lot of planning to implementation to minimize all of this. We still find loopholes.
Of course, regarding some elements that are not easy to overcome, yeah, talking about obstacles, what obstacles have been highlighted the most recently?
There are actually many obstacles that must be highlighted in various elements of supporting the success of government solution in learning during this pandemic. Yeah, because everyone has a very important role, right, in the midst of a pandemic that we cannot predict when it will end.
Supporting success in this online class is, of course, about sensitivity to technology and facilities, right?
Exactly. Not all of them can access the internet stable. Some even have access to the internet. They just can like they don't have a mobile phone. That is difficult thing in this implementation, I think.
Okay, and you shared earlier that during this pandemic, education is under a crisis period. Yeah, even education is being suspended and almost being due to limited time and space. What can make Indonesian children excited to go back to school, even it's learning from home or learning online?
To be honest, distance education or online class helps stuttering, yes, where this activity actually makes children like elementary school students to universities feel bored and enthusiastic. I once interviewed several children from various school levels. What makes them do learning activities at home even though it is boring? And they replied that I was looking for a teacher who was fine while studying virtual.
Oh, that's mean the creativity of a teacher in teaching must also be prepared so that the children don't get bored and get a new atmosphere in learning. But apart from the teacher, is there anything that can motivate it or demotivate it? Children in distancing learning, especially from the influence of the environment, because of course the environment has a big effect on their mood while studying.
Of course, the influence of the environment has a big effect, especially where we live with people and socialize. Of course, we will have invitations to do other things, such as playing during the learning period and many more that disturb the child's learning concentration. And this is very easy to obey. Children want it because at their age were still unstable, let alone children who are still unstable. College students can still complete their obligation in learning, especially in the midst of situation like this.
So, what kind of people really have an effect on them?
Mm, the first one is definitely people who live in the house, like parents, grandparents, siblings. They are very influential, especially parents may not be used to this activity. So, someone suddenly asks for help in the middle of studying or turns on the camera when learning and child does not have the enthusiasm to learn in learning because there are so many distractions, right? Friends who invite to play basically like understanding, so that it gives various kinds of effect.
I agree. And sometimes when you are studying and being asked to do something, it actually lowers our enthusiasm for learning, right? And the next question, I've heard that studying during this pandemic reduced children's creativity and class memory. So what do you think about this?
Uh, for this, I cannot agree 100% because on the other hand, if we are really serious about doing it, of course we can also grow creativity. It all depends on who does it, whether he is serious or not. But if forced to give an opinion, turning off memory and reducing creativity, maybe because it's monotonous, so the activities that are carried out become boring and um, that's all they do. So the children are stuck and think what to do next.
Uh, uh, Sometimes when I don't do something and I feel under pressure, my mind becomes muddled, and that's probably what is called turning off creativity and memory. In addition to creativity and memory, of course, there are many challenges faced in education during the pandemic. What are those challenges?
Uh, the educational challenge faced by the world of education today is demanded like a teacher. The role of the teacher is required to be creative and innovative in providing teaching, as described earlier with innovative teaching methods. Children will not be bored with lessons, and of course, children who are certainly required to do difficult things, as we know that the difficulty level of assessment when face-to-face school and school from home is strongly different. Maybe because the teaching is not very clear, so it seems different and difficult, I think.
With this pandemic, creativity and innovation are really important in this sustainability. It seems that the role of parents and the government is no less important. And what are the challenges foreign face in this matter?
Of course, we also can't forget the role of parents in this case because after all, in this online learning activity, maybe half of this study habits are returned to the parents. The challenge for parents in this case is that um, parents are required to explain what is explained by the teacher. Teachers and can help the homework assignment, which of course can be denied. Hearing complaints from children that the assignment given are very many and very difficult. Parental supervision and guidance is very influential in this regard.
Uh, um, and the next question, what about the government? which always the subject of their talk, which always being concerned about this. What challenges are they certainly facing in this time like this?
Um, that's right. I almost forgot from the Minister of Education to the government that takes care of education to remote areas. They are in a very big problem, of course, because this is part of the performance, which of course must always be ready to hear complaints from students, parents about this education. The challenge facing uh, the government now is about research, where not all children are lucky to be able to access online lesson right smoothly and smoothly and have facilities. And it is a challenge how, in the end, children must still be able to learn even in the midst of this pandemic.
And each of the roles mentioned above has an equally difficult role because all of them are trying to make this online learning process run productively. Alright, earlier we discussed education in the midst of a pandemic in general. Now we will discuss about how to educate children in remote villages.
This is the situation in Indonesia is not yet fully post-virus, and there are still many difficulties such as signals, communication tools, and the most important thing is the electric. Uh, Electric is the most important thing for them because they have not been able to get it, so they cannot access lesson as usual.
Okay. And the last question is, what is your solution to minimize this?
Um, of course, it goes back to oneself and the environment to realize how important education is. Second, the government must facilitate the problem I mentioned earlier, such as providing public facilities for learning, I think.
Okay, well, that was the conversation we had with Zakia Zahara. That was very educational and very interesting for knowledge she gave. And once again, thanks to Zakia, who has always taken the time to be healthy and more successful. Well, that was our talk so today. Thank you and see you later.